While it sounds like some sort of tool for trapping pigs, director Chloe Zhao's historical fiction Hamnet gives us a look at what could have been Shakespeare's inspiration for his tragedy surrounding a Dane, his dad, and his killer uncle. This is a tale of love and loss that inspired the creation of Shakespeare's timeless masterpiece, Hamlet. The film is adapted from Maggie O'Farrell's novel of the same name, and it stars Jessie Buckley, Paul Mescal, Joe Alwyn, Emily Watson, and Jacobi Jupe. And just like Shakespeare's Hamlet, this is ultimately a tragedy that we see play out. But that doesn't mean it's devoid of beauty or power. Now, first off, the film, it is shockingly beautiful to look at. Chloe Zhao just knows the look that she wants for her film, and the cinematography breathes it all in, so that not only do we get an excellent sense of the small town the characters live in, but because of the lore that surrounds Agnes, Shakespeare's wife, we're regularly taken into the lush forest to see the leaves swaying in the wind and dew dripping off the plants. There's a definite sense of magic when we're shown the forest, which then reinforces how Agnes is looked upon by everybody in the town. She's someone we would call a naturopath, but back then, she's labeled a witch. Now, this isn't delved into in a mystical manner, instead showing how she doesn't conform to the norms and is then made to be a bit of an oddity or an outcast. The camera work also displays a lot of restraint and patience in the film, locking down a shot and not moving so that this long sequence can play out in front of us without edits or distracting angle changes. And there are many times we're shown this perspective, and it creates the illusion that we're watching a stage performance take place in front of us rather than sitting in front of a movie. And when all of this is combined with soft and intimate lighting and then framings that let us take in the surroundings without the need to consistently pan or zoom, the visuals are enveloping and they just added to the overall beauty of the storytelling. Now, Jessie Buckley is Agnes, and she is such a powerful force when she's on screen. I mean, her emotions are palpable and raw, whether she's looking deeply into somebody's eyes or just gutturally screaming from pain or loss. Every display is real. And I love seeing her smirk when she's either mischievous or obstinate, giving Agnes so much depth to her personality and not just being some unaffecting presence within the story. If anything, Buckley's the driver for this. The story focuses so intently on her as she fights against expectations to keep her identity while also deeply loving her family and embracing the joy of them despite the weight of a vision that haunts her. And there comes a point in the story when Agnes has to express extraordinary sorrow. Buckley nails this in a way that we can feel her grief transferring through the screen. And showcasing sadness, I mean, that's not something new or novel, but the way she goes from this deep cry to silent gasps in a particular scene, it's captivating and terrible in the best way possible. I mean, she's also demonstrative when expressing joy or anger. Buckley portrays Agnes as feisty and strong, but with this tender and watchful demeanor, which I think is what draws Shakespeare to her in the first place. Buckley finds this brilliant blend of magic and intrigue while inviting us into her psyche so that we can experience her range of emotions right alongside her. And then we've got Paul Mescal as Shakespeare. Funny thing is that he's never referred to by name until close to the end of the movie. We know who he is, though, so it's irrelevant if they ever name him out loud at all. But Mescal plays his character as a sensitive thinker, someone more drawn to writing than manual labor. And he has this inquisitive personality, curious, passionate, but also haunted by his desire to capture the perfect words and sentiments within his writing. Mescal is quiet in this. I mean, there aren't many times when we see him becoming a large or imposing presence. Instead, he's emotional, passionate, and caring. There comes a point in the final act, thanks to Mescal's performance, that I gained a new perspective into Shakespeare's Hamlet. Now, I don't know how true the interpretation is because the novel for this movie is historical fiction, but regardless, the messaging is clear and it's perfectly conveyed to give even more depth to the play than I had originally taken in. The dynamic between Buckley and Mescal, it's also perfect. They share a believably powerful connection where passion is way deeper than just attraction. And the emotional displays can be heartbreaking or uplifting, but no matter what they're showcasing, they feel genuine. And that then sucked me into the story even more, completing this illusion that I was within their world, getting to observe their lives as a fact rather than just as a performance. Now, throughout the entire film, there's a sense of foreboding with this mournful or ominous tone that just threatens to overtake the story at any time. And because this is a tragedy, I mean, that makes sense. But it's a strange feeling to be sucked into a love relationship filled with so much passion, all the while knowing that at some point a shoe's going to drop and create crushing emotional devastation. And yeah, the movie delivers. And it's going to be difficult to walk out of this story without even a small tear in your eyes. That's not to say that the film leaves us in a depressed mindset, though. It ends beautifully and with hopeful closure. But what comes before is just powerfully sad and tremendously impacting. And although the movie is 125 minutes, there's nothing I would change within the plot progression. Even when we're watching some beauty shots of nature, they're adding to the emotional context of the characters and the sequences, allowing us to experience the world that the characters are living in. The story weaves us through an emotional journey so we can take in the joys and the sadness. And while Buckley and Mescal masterfully guide us, the two younger actors, Jacobi Jupe and Olivia Lynes, they enthrall thanks to performances way more mature than their age would suggest. They're restrained and contain both silliness and fear that's necessary to be believable within the tragic nature of the story. They have to simultaneously be innocent and fun-loving kids while also braving the terrible realities that confront them. Jupe wordlessly dismantles any composure we may have and breaks us down with a look that begins as confusion, transitions to grief, and then settles on resolve. He handled it like a seasoned vet, performing more convincingly than a lot of established actors that I've seen attempt the same emotional feat. Now, I know this was released at the end of the year so that it could be an awards contender. Seriously, though, it was always going to be in the running. It may not be a massive box office success, especially just thanks to the limited screens that it's being shown on, but Hamnet, it is a potent tale of love and grief. Chloe Zhao once again demonstrates her mastery of visual storytelling through the use of patient camera work and her ability to elicit raw, emotionally charged performances from her actors. Jessie Buckley is nothing short of magnificent, breathing so much passion and heartbreak into her character while commanding the screen with a presence that is entrancing and nuanced. Paul Mescal deftly compliments Buckley through his own mournful and quiet display, becoming equally as punishing with deep emotive power. And I know that historical dramas, whether fictionalized or not, can be a turnoff for some. But by avoiding this film, you miss out on a masterclass in acting and filmmaking. A story that's haunting and personal that's going to stick in your mind for quite a while. There's sex, no nudity, some profanity, and some violence. I give Hamnet 5 out of 5 couches. I mean, just like with the recent film Rental Family, this is one that I am going to repeatedly watch because of the strength of the storytelling. Okay, are there any historical dramas that are just a must-watch for you? I'd love to get your recommendations in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.